Hey guys, good morning. My name is Jim Asplin, a workers' compensation attorney in Farmington, Connecticut. And today I wanted to answer the question as to what is a repetitive trauma injury. Repetitive trauma injuries are something that are fairly common in Connecticut workers' compensation cases. And simply put, a repetitive trauma injury is an injury that a worker sustains because they're doing the same motion over and over again with a given body part. Most frequently, we see this with the hands. If you have a continuous use of your hands in connection with your job duties, you set yourself up for a repetitive trauma injury, most commonly carpal tunnel. Sometimes we see trigger finger. There's another common injury that we see called Dupuytren's contracture. Those types of things we see in people who use their fingers to keyboard all the time. They're very common in dental hygienists. They're common in small parts assemblers and things like that. Anytime you have any kind of intensive use of your hands, you set yourself up for a potential repetitive trauma injury. Another frequent body part that we see that are subject to repetitive trauma injuries are the elbow. These are pretty common in plumbers, pipe fitters, things of that nature. If you're doing a wrenching motion over and over again on a consistent basis all day long, you set yourself up for things like epicondylitis, more commonly called tennis elbow. That's where the nerve in your elbow becomes entrapped simply because the tissue around it becomes inflamed because you're doing the same job over and over again. So these things are fairly common. The hands are very common in repetitive trauma claims. The elbows are very common. Less so the back. A lot of people think that the back is subject to repetitive trauma claims. I used to think so too, and I used to be a lot more optimistic about those claims. As time has gone on, what we've seen is that it's difficult for doctors to say that your repetitive use of your back is the cause of an injury. We do still see it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but it's not as common as you would think. Typically, you're going to see that kind of situation in welders, construction workers, people who are doing repetitive lifting and bending with their back, and then they set themselves up for some sort of process where they have deterioration in their back. And that really is a question that you need to have with your doctor if you think that you fall into that circumstance. If the doctor is on board, that they think that your occupational activities are the cause of your back problems, and they'll give us an opinion to that effect, then you can file a claim for repetitive trauma in that situation as well. A couple other things to keep in mind with regards to repetitive trauma. There's a timeline that applies for when you can bring these claims. Typically, the statute of limitations is told, so in other words, you have to bring the claim within 1 year of the last injurious exposure. So the easiest way to put that is the last day that you did the work-related activity that was causing damage to a body part. So for example, if you were a dental hygienist or you were using the instruments on a daily basis, then you stopped that job and you went off and you became a dog walker or something like that, where you weren't doing a hand-intensive job anymore. Your time to bring a claim for workers' compensation benefits is going to be 1 year from the time that you did that last job as a dental hygienist. So if you have questions about any of that, feel free to give me a call, 860-523-8783. We have a lot of experience in repetitive trauma claims. They're fairly common here in Connecticut, and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. If you like the video or you find it helpful, please feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. We have a number of different videos on various Connecticut workers' compensation topics. You can visit our website at www.aspellaw.com. There's a lot of good information there. We also have a Facebook group, Ask a Connecticut Workers' Compensation Attorney. You're welcome to join that, and if you have any questions, you can ask them there, and I'll respond to you directly. We always offer a free consultation. We're here in Farmington, and we cover work injuries throughout the state of Connecticut. Hope this was helpful, and have a good day. Thanks.